I want to show you guys some basic tactics that I use when I look for jewfish. Yeah, that's a school of fish. Ooh, straight away. G'day fishers, welcome to another episode of WA Fishing. Today we're going to head off Mandurah, going solo. I want to show you guys some basic tactics that I use when I look for jewfish. I'm not sure if people listen to it, but Tall's Tale podcast, Ash Ram touched on a point which is certainly very accurate, and that is about these caves, limestone caves, right? So I've spoken to a couple of people and people say, oh, you can't find them, you got to drop a camera. Well, I can tell you, you can find them. You just have to know what you're looking for. The Jew supermarket, as you know, that is a whole series of limestone caves. I'm absolutely certain without dropping a camera. The reason I know that is because of a few reasons. Number one, there is no structure, zero, right? So the only structure that you see is that leading up to it, you might come up about 30 centimeters, half a meter, sorry. Somewhere around that, you'll see a little boop, and then it's just flat again. The second thing you look for is a bit of growth. Now, when I say growth, I'm talking about weed, not coral as such, but just a bit of weed. Weed and coral grow on limestone. They need themselves to attach to something. Last but not least, the last thing I'm looking for is anomalies with the ground. So if you got a wide beam transducer, this is where you're going to struggle, okay? So if you're trying to find these niche spots, what you really want is a narrow beam transducer. And this is, I guess, an argument that I have quite a few people message me about what transducer to pick. Depends on your style of fishing, right? So if you're one of those fishermen who like to search around and you like to just go without a GPS and really not worried about where you're dropping, just drop in random locations, it's all good, then a wide beam will do you well. Additionally, they're really designed for pelagic confined and bait fish, right? They search quite a few meters either side of your boat, and when you're driving, you'll pick up those nuggets a lot more easier. Now, lastly, why I say a narrow beam is really important is you can pick up those cracks, those air bubbles that are underneath the limestone. So when you've got a wide beam, it's all blurred out because you're scanning a wide piece of ground. When you've got a narrow, you're actually pinpointing and you can find those caves a lot more easier. So when I say caves, they're not like you typically see that you've seen in my previous video where it's like a big void. I'm only talking like little bubbles, like you'll see on the ground, these little anomalies that don't make sense. When you see that, that means it's hard ground, number one. Number two, there's voids, right? There's little ledges or caves that you can barely see. The sustainability of your marks is key to success in the future. So stop hammering a mark, search around. Once you got a good bag of reliable spots under your belt, they will produce for years and years and years to come. As long as you're rotating them, not smashing them, picking off one or two fish, moving on, you will have spots for years. I promise you that. And then your mates would love to come out with you because you'll be bagging out every trip within a few hours of heading out. And you won't be doing those long days anymore. You'll be back before lunch. So the rigs we're going to be using today is bottom meats with a bit of octopus. I brought some squid as well, just in case you're a bit fussy. Now these Vex bottom meats, we'll be using the slow pitch tune. You would have seen them after Vex released them recently. Been working closely with Vex to trial these out, and they're fantastic freaking hooks. They will hook up to anything, so you'll rarely miss. They'll actually, I've had them in trials and I didn't really want to showcase it, unfortunately, because I was still under trial, nothing was confirmed, but I've had one instance where the hook has actually pierced through the jawbone of a jewfish. Like, never had that before. If you know jewfish, they've got a very thick jawbone and quite solid. Most often you have hook points snap off or bend. It went straight through it, like phenomenal, really phenomenal hooks. So if you haven't got a set, I suggest you get onto Vex, and they're bloody good. But yeah, target's dewies today, so big baits to minimise bycatch. And yeah, depending on how the weather is, we'll see how far we go and what we do today. I'll just point out it's the freaking coldest morning this year so far, so hence why I'm fully rugged up. Anyways, we'll see you at Dawesville Cut as we're leaving the boat ramp. G'day fishers, well, we're on the water now. It's just as cold as it was 2 hours this morning, so hasn't warmed up yet. The sun's up, but clear skies, no wind, which is great, so hopefully that churny seas is calmed down. Anyways, bumped into another YouTuber down the ramp, which was quite interesting. Bomb Diggity, shout out to you, mate. He's out for pinkies today, so wish you luck, buddy. So what we got today is low winds, and there's a lot of swell, and there's still a bit of seas around from last night and the storms that we've been having. Today, with no wind and clear skies, should drop off. I'm hoping around midday it really drops off, gives us a good few hours in the afternoon. We've got a rising tide up until just after lunch. That should enable us to not miss the bite, hopefully. But to be honest, with jewfish, I don't think tides play a part. That's my personal opinion. I think the main thing is trying to get on sunrise and sunset, but we've missed that window, and trust me, it's not going to be worth it with the weather that was out there this morning. So it's going to be a hard slog trying to find the fish, but I think once we do find some fish that are feeding, I think we should be sweet. So that's the plan. We're heading out of Dawesville Cut now, so hopefully next you see us, we'll be dropping a line, and I'll give you an update on what the weather's like out there and how far we got out. Well fishers, we're only just getting started. Make sure you stick around, as there's more than 40 more tips to come on catching jewfish in the metro region. If you're liking our videos and all the advice that we're giving out, there's going to be plenty more on different species up and down our coast. So make sure you give this video a like and subscribe to our channel. And don't forget, we also have Instagram and Facebook. Feel free to message us if you've got any more detailed technical questions. Now sit back and relax and enjoy this video, which goes through some awesome tips of jew fishing in our metro region. Alright, first concept. What are some great tips to find jewfish and demersal species here in Perth Metro? Number one, run both frequencies at the same time. Why? When you're searching, your high frequencies are very narrow beam. You're only going to pick up directly under your boat. This is typical, but again, like I spoke about before about different transducers in other episodes, that is my preference because I do a lot of deep dropping and fishing up north in the 80-metre water sort of mark for Rankin, Scarlets and Red Emperor and whatnot. But the reason why you run two frequencies is the low frequencies is a wide beam. Now, you often get the advice, hey, run the wide beam, you can pick up more ground. Yes, okay, that's a good point, but your low frequency is also wide, so then you've got high wide, low wide, where's the advantage? Where's the variability? Now, if you run a narrow beam on your high and then a wide is obviously on your low, you can run your low to search, and then when you find some stuff, then use your high to narrow down that spot. That is probably one of the key factors when it comes to sounder fishing for me in Metro. When you're searching, look for spots that are isolated, and not obvious. Okay, so I say that because 50 years ago there would have been a lot of fish on those sort of marks, but obviously with the Perth metropolitan area, there's a high density of people fishing. A lot of those spots have been heavily hit, and a lot of those spots hold small fish, nothing fantastic. There'll be still fish on there, don't get me wrong, just nothing big. Okay, and this is why you see a lot of fishermen go up north. They find it easy to find big fish. Why? Is because all the obvious marks up north have hardly been hit, and they can find big fish easily. It's fantastic, and trust me, up north is very, very good. It's easy to find big Rankin, big Scarlets, big red Emperors. You can do that any day of the week up there. What you want to find is spots that people don't have. So, isolated, tiny, not obvious. In the Tall Tales podcast, Ash Ram talks about it. Limestone with caves that you can't see. If you can find that, that's where the big fish are, and you'll have some wicked success for many fishing trips to come. So hopefully it helps you, and we'll talk a bit more about some advice throughout this trip. Now, you'll see here, this is a great example of what I was talking about with the low and the high. On the low, there's a lot more show than what's on the high, right? And this is the sort of stuff you're looking for, okay? So this is a bit of weed and a bit of fluff that's holding on some ground, okay? And whilst it's not showing a lot of fish, there's probably one up there, but it's not here. Maybe there's a little dot there, but that's exactly what you're looking for. Right? There's no structure. I just know that's hard ground, possibly some limestone, and that there's going to be some fish on there. You can also see the thickness. So if you look at the high frequency, how much thicker that is compared to here, that means it's hard ground as well. All right. So that's how you know that it's hard limestone. I know you guys are watching this very closely, because I can tell you right now, this took me many years to figure out. I don't need to drop a GoPro down there. I know that that mark back there was some hard limestone. Now the key is now, I've just marked that first bit of it. Now I'm just going to go around in circles and map it out, and hopefully we can find some good ground. Okay, so you can see here, I've just gone around the mark quite close, and what I'm finding is that there is a lot more fluff and weed around here. You can see how it thickens up in areas as well, and then thins out in some areas as well. Now I'm not looking for fish, but you can see a couple of little fish there. So I'll just mark in that region, because where there's fish, there's more fish usually. And what I'm looking for now, it's really hard with this swell. It's about 2.5 meters to 3 meters, I think, at the moment. So it's hard going sounding, but we'll still manage. And what I'm looking for is there's just this stuff on top. You can see all this. This is good, really good. Lots of weed for jewfish to hide in, and more than likely, because this is hard ground, there could be caves and stuff underneath that they're hiding in as well. Now this is no structure, like there is no lumps, nothing. This is in the middle of nowhere, just quite flat. But you can see what I use as well on this to help. On here there's a white line marker. And on the 295s, it's a good setting to have, because that gives you when it changes from one color to the next from that hard stuff. So you can see the clear separation. All right, we'll just circle around a bit more. That looks like it could be fish there as well, so we'll mark them as well. I don't know why I'm picking it up on the high, not the low, which is interesting. Now usually with these under limestone caves as well, is what you'll see is the odd little, see how you've seen these little, that white marker that just sort of like air bubbles in between? That means there could be little pockets of air in between this hard stuff as well. And that's how you can pick this stuff up, find your snappers, find your jewfish. And whilst they're all hiding in these little bits of weed and bit of cave ledges and things like that, that you can't normally pick up. People drive over this stuff every freaking day. All right, we'll see what's down there, hey? I'll just line up a drift. We'll give it a few drifts and then we'll see how we go. Just ignore the I don't have sat compass, unfortunately, so these are all the swell. And yes, the swell is that big in some places because of double bounce. Okay, some really good examples here as well. See, you got the white line marker popping up under there. That's a cave under some bit of flat coral weed or something. So yeah, this is the sort of stuff you want to be fishing. No fish, don't worry about looking up here. If they're out feeding, they'll be up here. When there's currents around and there's all this, jewfish is a relatively lazy fish, and what they'll do is they'll just hide in these crevices out of the currents, chilling, waiting for something to pass by, and as soon as you drop your bait, they'll pop out, have a look, and then you're on. All right, today we're going to chuck on this Orange Glow 200 grammer, one of my favorites, this color. I know there's some new colors, I haven't had a look yet at Vex range, but I'm sure they're pretty awesome. And we got the slow tune hooks, slow pitch tune hooks. These things are dynamite, and get your hands on some, you won't miss any hookups. And they penetrate bone. I've had it personally. I wish I got a video of it, but unfortunately I don't. Anyway, maybe we'll penetrate some bones today with it and I'll show you. Now they're not on a use typically, and where do I tie on these bottom meats? Okay, so you got 2 points. You got one that's more forward and one that's more back. And I guess that depends on how you're fishing. I tie on that front one. What we're gonna do is just tie a quick uni knot. Nothing special, keep it basic. Less problems with when you got the easy knots, just a uni knot. So loop around about 4 times. And then pull it down and cinch it in. That's it. And that'll hold on, trust me. Nice big ocky leg. This will avoid all the small stuff like breaksea cod, pink snapper. They'll try and get their mouth around it, but a dew will suck this whole thing in. And that's how I sort of filter out the bycatch as well. All right, let's go around and we'll have our first drop. All right, so we're on that spot I showed you. We're only 25 k's or so off Mandurah, and we just hit bottom. Now this is an experimental spot, so give it a couple of drifts and then we'll keep moving. There might not be fish here. As I've mentioned in previous videos, lift it up slowly and drop it back down. Entices that bite. What I'm not liking about this water at the moment, it's a bit green. I'm not sure if it comes through on the camera. Green water generally means there's a bit of sand, silt with all these storms we've been having. And it kind of quietens down the bite, I find. Pinkies will love it. But jewfish, I think, kind of quieten off a bit. It's good ground around here, actually. Ooh, was that a fish or was that bottom? Okay, we're just coming over some more limestone now. So that patch we initially found, no real hits. Ooh, I thought I was on then, but that was bottom, I think. Oh no, ooh. That was a sucky bite. It didn't want it though. Now, another thing with jewfish, it took me many years to work this out, but fish super light rods, like slow pitch. Don't fish too much drag, maybe no more than 7 kilos of drag, and you'll have better success at not getting reefed. Now, I know that's counterintuitive. I absolutely understand. But one of the things I've found with jewfish is that, and it goes for most species as well, and Samson is a great example, Samson fish are a great example of this. The more you pull, the more harder they pull, right? The adrenaline's pumping, that fish is absolutely going to go bananas, right? Now, when you're fishing slow pitch gear and a light drag, that fish will just shake. It shakes its head, and it will continue to shake its head trying to throw the hooks because it doesn't feel threatened, okay? It feels like there's something in its mouth that shouldn't be there. And so what you do is you bring it up on that light drag, light rod, just keep the hook pinned, and you bring it up, and when it gets about 10 meters off the bottom, that's when it has a panic attack. And it goes, well, I don't like this. And that's when it will try and dart down the caves and reef and structure. Now, people can argue with me on this, but this is from experience. This is not a theory, okay? This is confirmed. I've been doing this stuff for that long, and I used to fish heavy, you know, 50, 60 pound gear. Used to try and me first the fish to try and battle them out of these reef systems, and I would still lose fish occasionally. Oop, that was a hit. I'll still lose fish. I personally, since I've been slow pitch gear and light drags, I have not lost a jewfish to reef, full stop. I can't remember the last time I lost a jewfish to reef. I've had some line bust offs, and that was, I don't know what's going on with that braid, admittedly, but that was at the tip of the rod. It wasn't, you know, because I snagged on reef. But that is the honest truth. So get your hands on one of these Assassin Pitch Masters. Get the really light one. So this one's a P 1.5 to 2.5. Get a nice small reel to match, like a 15, 20 maybe. And have that drag, not full lock, but just off, and that should be about 7 kilos of drag, 6 to 7 kilos. You don't need any more than that. Even with a 20 kilo jewfish, you don't need it. That fish will come up 10 meters before it panics. And then when it does panic, you've got the upper hand, and that's when you can give it a bit of thumb, tighten it up, and that fish is not going to make it back down to the bottom. Anyways, I hope that's helpful. So just driving along and picked up this on the low and the high. Looks pretty good. So we'll go back around and see if we can find it. Just driving along the middle of nowhere. Looks quite good. So let's see what's down there. There's a lot of weed and stuff down there, which is great for dewies to hide in. Getting lots of bites, that's for sure. I think I've got a tiny fish on. That's what I think's going on. All I'm hoping is there's a bigger jewfish down there that'll eat it. Nah, I don't think it's going to happen at the moment. We'll bring up this small fish and see what it is, eh? Racinated. King wrasse. So these are great bait. So what I like to do with these king wrasse, they're also meant to be not bad eating, but I haven't tried one. But I like keeping these and filleting them off for dewy baits. So we'll do that. Now when there's a lot of smaller fish around, I like to just move it around up and down to get it out of the face of the small fish and give the big fish a chance to come and gobble it. Now the key thing is you haven't got all day out here, so give it a couple of drifts, no success, just keep moving. Like all these sort of low-lying isolated areas don't always produce fish, okay? But the ones that do, nobody has. And that's, I guess, the key learning about looking for jewfish and demersal species off our West Coast metropolitan area. And if you can find those marks, they are dynamite. Forget about your maps, put the maps in the bin. I see a lot of money wasted on these sort of maps. Honestly, they're a waste of money. They're great if you want to do deep drop, or you're going up north, you want to map out some areas and, you know, inshore sort of stuff, where a reef is, blah, blah, blah. But when you're out here, it's pretty bland and boring for the most part, and anything that's marked out here has probably been hit by 100 boats. The key thing is not waste too much time. You've only got a few hours fishing. You've only got a few hours fishing if you think about it. Now, jewfish typically will hit on the drop, so lifting it up, then drop down. Lift it up, let it sink down, and usually they'll hit it just as you go to drop. Not always, they'll just smack it sometimes, but if you're finding it tough, just try that. Ooh, it's good fish. Feels like a small dewy. Ooh. Fish is showing up in the sounder now. Must be over some caves or something. Oh, dropped him. Dropped him. Well, maybe something followed him up. You never know. Just go back down. Hopefully his bait's still on. Don't think there's bait on. It doesn't feel like it. Occasionally that happens. That's just fishing. Must have had him just hooked in the lip or something. Probably about 5 kilo, I'd say, you know, that sort of 50 to 60 centimetre dewy range. All right, one more drift on this spot and then we'll head out. I'm getting some good reads, but lots of little bites. Dropped that dewy before. I was hoping there's something bigger down there, but doesn't seem to be the case. Based on the blobs that I'm seeing on the sounder, should be something big down there. Just not hungry. It's cool, a bait fish under our boat now. Sometimes what you get when the bait fish is sambos and stuff will follow them around, or tuna. And demersals will actually swim and follow underneath, picking up all the scraps that can fall down to the bottom. Remember one time, probably 15 years ago, found a big school of sambos smashing bait fish and we're just jigging one after the other. And then dropped down to the bottom, managed to get through them, hooked up to a big dewy, and then the other people on the boat did the same thing, tried to get a heavier weight, get through them, hooked up to another dewy and a black ass. It was a good day. You can stay on this spot and anchor, burley, or you just keep moving. I'm not into anchoring and burleying. We managed to get out much deeper water. It's nice and clear, like blue, not green like before, which is a good sign. So hopefully there's a few fish that want to play. Now, the thing about fishing off Mandurah, most of the ground is really flat. There's no, I've got a couple of caves and stuff like that off Mandurah, but there's not a lot. Now, there's a bit more wind out here and a bit more swell as well. It's a problem when you go out this far. Got some good readings down there. It's just about enticing a bite now. This area is quite broad and I know it produces really good fish. Lost one earlier this year that I reckon would have been pushing 20. Okay, whacked a super big fillet on. Whole side of a big Sergeant Baker. Now let's see what happens, eh? Now I'm not fishing on any fish. I'm just fishing the ground, the area, just drift around because I know this area produces some really big fish. They'll be just swimming around, hiding in crevices, little cracks and things like that. Gotcha. That's a big fish. It's not doing a lot at the moment. It feels very stingray-ish. Which means it could be a shark or a big Dewey. Now, for those beginners out there, the key with big fish like this is just don't panic, take your time. Remember, just don't high stick your rods. I mean, these slow pitch do take a punishing, don't get me wrong. Don't want to high stick them. It's floating up, which makes me think it could be a really big Dewey. That's that old, it doesn't want to fight. What are you? Still can't figure you out. Big. Big stingray. Thought so. Haven't caught one of these in a long time. Usually you don't get them when you've got hybrid jigs and stuff on. Get out of there. The trick is here, is can I get the lead up? I've got the lead up. You've got to be careful with these suckers, like I said. He's going to try and ping me every day of the week. I know, buddy. I want to get you out of this situation too, mate. There's one hook. Now I just need to get the other hook. It should be sweet. There we go. Right. Now we're letting go. See you, Steve. Okay, so I've got a couple of hours. We left pretty late this morning, about 9:30, 10 I think it was. Had a bit of a play on the way out. Got out here about 1 PM. So we'll stay here till about 3. I'm fairly confident we should catch something. Not seeing a lot on the sounder though. Usually there's a bit more activity here than what there is at the moment. And no stingrays usually. It's just a big area, just drifting. Fish pop up every now and again, random locations. They don't really hold. I think it's just a feeding ground really. They just roam around. There's a storm or a bit of rain coming through, so I'm a bit desperate. And see if we can get one, eh? Ooh, straight away. Good fish. Oh, that didn't take long, did it? Good fish, this one. It's going to be here for a while. It's taking me for a swim. probably looking for his cave. Like I said before, with the stingray, big fish, just take your time. This is definitely a fish. And I'll just call it for a jewfish. Just flat ground. That's all it is. And everybody, I guarantee, will be driving over it. This is a good fish. Doesn't want to come in. Very fit. Take your time. It doesn't matter if you're losing line sometimes. He's just fighting for his life. Once the dewies get to a certain depth, they kind of, well, once the dewies come up so far, they tend to give up a bit, like now. Doing circles, which is weird. Looks like a dewey. And it is a dewey. It's a big boy. Holy crap! He's fat. Absolutely fat as. That's a fat dewey, very stumpy. And there you go. On the Vex bottom meat, slow pitch tune, slow tune pitch, whatever it is. You know what it is. Anyway, it's a big male. Usually the first fish is a big male, usually. I'd say be up around 12, 13 kilo at a guess, probably low 90s, but we'll measure him. We'll put him on the brag mat and see what he measures. And at a guess, he's about 92, which I was right. So generally that 90 centimetre mark is usually about 12, 13 kilo. So that was a good guess, I'd say. He's fat. Very solid fish. Give him a bit of icky jimmy. The icky pick. So that was caught on a whole squid. Now we've icky jimmied him, and now we're just going to let it bleed out for a bit. Alright, we'll go around again. Now I'll show you where we got that fish. Not the GPS points. I'll show you on the sounder. Flat as. What you'll find is there's a bit of weed, and that bit of weed is where bit of limestone that it clings onto, which will hold caves and things like that. So you'll see that in a moment as we come up on the spot. So it comes up a little bit and then just levels out for ages, which means it's hard bottom. And where we call that fish, you'll see in a moment. I'll show exactly where we caught it. Pretty much on the drop right there where we turned in. So coming up to it in a moment. So I'll show you where it is. Just not the GPS coordinates. Let's be fair, people. Alright, so you can see here, there's a bit of activity just about where I caught this fish. Oh, actually, there's probably a lot more than what I saw before. I think they've all woken up. Oh, we're going to have another drop then. Hello. Yeah, that's a school of fish. We'll do the same thing, just a whole squid. Down she goes. Bit of mischief. Oh, and again, as soon as I hit bottom, that's a big fish again. Whole squid. I don't know if this one's bigger actually. Now the good thing about coming in this time of year, I find, is that jewfish, while they're not breeding, the males will actually start to congregate to try and establish new territories. So and I don't know what it is. This is just my own personal, look, I'm not fit, I don't know fisheries data, but this is only my personal experience. But yeah, we'll see. So it's not as big as the last one. It's still decent though. Well, it could be as big. Just coming up a lot quicker. It's a good fish. Oh no, it's a female. Rightio then. Probably about the 10 kilo range. And those slow pitch tune hooks, sticky as, look at them, all over the face and through the mouth. They do not miss, I'm telling you. Yeah, we're working with Bex a bit on some trialling these, and I can tell you they're bloody fabulous. Yeah. $85s. $86 centimeters, so not as big as the last one, but still pretty good. Out come the hooks. So now these have been bleeding for a little while. We'll get to work on the icky pick and the Shinkei. So with these larger fish, I like to use the bigger wire. Just it's a bit firmer. Now, the core is great, but there's a trick with this. If you can get in their brain again, you'll know, because you'll kick like that. See? All right. So that's when you know you're in the brainal cavity. And see the angle I've got going down that way. Now the trick here is you want to follow that same trajectory in, like that, and then wriggle it around. And then once you get it, you'll know, because this happens. And that's just severing all the nerves down the body, like that. Now this is going to be sashimi grade jewfish. Now I'll just show you. I went down that, it's all the way down there. I can feel it with my finger. Alright, so when I pull this out, you'll see it's gone all the way down, okay? That fish will stay in the fridge, not freezer, but fridge for 3 weeks and not go sour or smelly or off. And I've got another video on that. Same again, so re-entry on an angle. Sometimes it can be a bit difficult to find it again. I think it's in there. This one's been sitting around for about 10 minutes, so nerves might be not as active. Don't make me get the core out. If you can't get it, the core will certainly get it, that's for sure. Might flip it over. Try and get it at this angle. Let's try again. Right. Where are you? Twitching ya? Down there. Alright, come on. There it is. There it is. Okay. There we go. Gotcha. Alright. Now I like going back and forth. Just like that. Properly sever them. That's sashimi grade jewfish. Now we'll give these a wash. Now the beauty about these packs, they're air dry, so it's all ventilated and they'll just dry out. Ice blocks, like I said, this is all water frozen down in my freezer, and then I've got some ice cubes. That's done. Quick spritz and then we're out of here. Well, back at the ramp now, just heading home from Mandurah. Tell us what you think about these Back to Basics series. What I'm trying to do is really more focus on the techniques and elements of my fishing and what I've learned over the years. Like, I'm not going to give you everything, because to be honest, I'd have to sit down for hours and try and brainstorm all the different things that I do. So yeah, just keen for your thoughts. Let us know if you'd like to see more of these episodes, and if not, we can always just stick to the entertainment ones and just straight fishing. But yeah, let us know in the comments. Also, if you'd like to support the channel, you can do so by grabbing some merch off our website, which is www.westernaustraliafishing.com.au. Anyways, I'm going to get back home, and considering I won't get back home till probably sunset, I might just wait till tomorrow to fillet these fish, leave them on ice overnight, and then deal with them tomorrow. And we'll do a bit of a stomach's contents check as well, as always. It's always good to do that. Something I've done since a kid, learn what the fish are feeding on, adapt your baits to something that's similar. Alright, I'll catch you later. Alrighty, it's the next day, and we're going to fillet these fish. They've been on ice overnight. We got the boy and the girl, and we'll give them away as well. So we'll chuck them on the scales. So what's your guess? This is for the 93 centimeters. Put your guess down in the comments. 12.3. It's about right. Alright, let's check the female. 87 centimeters, what's your guess? 10.4. Decent fish, very fat. Probably notice in my videos, I like these mesh gloves. My main reason is they provide a bit of grip, especially with the slime. I find the other gloves don't. And these just tighten up the glove so it sits nicely on your hand. Now, one thing I want to point out about is, so when your fish are cooled down, they don't bleed out, so you don't get blood on the fillets. It's not about whether you bled the fish properly or not. Trust me, this fish was bled properly. Blood just pulls up in parts of the fish, and when you cut it, those main arteries, like that one there, it just pulls out. But if it's cold and coagulated, less likely to bleed out. Now this male fish blew its stomach out, so there won't be anything in its stomach, unfortunately. This stomach is chockers. We'll have a look at it in a second. Alright, let's get rid of the liver. Let's have a look in here. Look at this. It's got a red mullet and seems to be another red mullet. 2 whole red mullet in his stomach. Pretty impressive. Wow. And she went for a whole squid on top of that. See, there's no eggs in it. They're out of breeding season. This is its ovaries and they're all empty. Hope you can still learn some stuff from this video. As I've always mentioned in my videos, I'm here to teach you guys at home the skills and knowledge that I've learned over the last 30 years of boat fishing. Honestly, most of this stuff I'm teaching you, I've learned over the years. I didn't read it from a magazine. I rarely go to tackle stores and talk to the people. And to be honest, it's probably wasted quite a lot of my life and I wish I did. But for me, I like experimenting, going outside of social norms, or fishing norms, I should say. You find what's successful for you and your style of fishing. You don't necessarily have to copy me. If it's just one thing out of today's video that gives you that 1% difference, then this is a successful video in my eyes. I know I haven't showcased a lot of other videos except deep dropping and demersal and up north, but believe me, I used to do a lot of beach fishing from Mulloway, Taylor, whiting, herring. I guess once you go to a boat, you don't go back. That's kind of the thing. But if you really want to have a chat, we've got the boat show coming up in September. And don't forget your discount code, WAFishing10.